and welcome, Star Wars fans, to this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot that they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and I'm joined by my co-host Amanda as we attempt to discover what story is truly the best from a galaxy far, far away. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing ranks and hot takes from the Clone Wars Season 1, Episodes 8. Wow. I did do it right. I held up 4 fingers on each side. I was like, I thought I held up 9. I was like, nope, 8, 9, and 10. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where these 3 pieces of Star Wars content ranks amongst the rest. Amanda, we finally have done it. We have entered some fun episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It took 8 episodes in.
That's not really as long as some people made it seem like we would have to wait for good episodes.
No, and they weren't like groundbreaking, but you know what? They were like watchable.
Yeah, so
That's all I wanted.
We have like an arc to go through.
We do. A Nute Gunray arc, which was kind of its own thing.
Which I'm honestly kind of like, first off, I'm impressed that they decided to go, and I think it's necessary to introduce Nute Gunray as a character so early on. Because he shows up in the Phantom Menace and you're like, who is this guy? Why is he important? So I'm glad that they found a way to bring him in season 1.
Yes.
And maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I like that also all 3 pieces of this were kind of different stories. It wasn't just like one plot strung throughout 3 episodes.
Totally. Well, let's take us through it. What was that first episode all about?
Okay, so the first episode, episode 8, Bombad Jedi. On a diplomatic mission to the planet Rhodia, Padme discovers that her old friend and fellow Republic Senator Onaconda Farr has allied his planet with the Separatists. In exchange for food and resources for his people, Uncle Otto captures Padme and promises to deliver her to Nute Gunray. Sensing Padme is in trouble, Jar Jar Binks disguises himself as a Jedi with the help of C-3PO, courageously fight to rescue his friend and fellow senator.
His name is Uncle Otto?
Yeah, Uncle... Oh, maybe it's Uncle Anno.
Oh, I thought it was Uncle. Okay.
Yeah, Uncle Anno. That's what she calls him, like as like a friendly...
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I was like, is she saying Uncle? Is that what we're saying right now? I've misheard her this whole time. Just like, of course they're not family. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, Brody? No, they're definitely different races.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's Star Wars. I don't know.
So Uncle Anno is sort of like family to Padme, and she is taking this trip to try to keep his planet on the side of the Republic. And it turns out that Nute Gunray has already sort of bribed him into turning over Padme and in exchange for resources for his people, which he needs.
I loved this episode.
Really? Even though it starred Jar Jar and C-3PO?
Yeah. I mean, personally, like, I thought Jar Jar, like, I think for me, this was the best I've ever seen him.
You know, I tend to agree.
Yeah. Like, obviously he was clumsy, but he wasn't like as annoying for me as like Phantom Menace. And yeah, I mean, he was quirky. He thought he was a Jedi. He got out of the way and whatever. I mean, he clumsily found his way to be able to support his friends, whatever else. Padme like had a role that fit. She was able to sneak those droids.
She saved herself.
Yeah.
She took out 3 droids herself.
It reminded me a lot of the Attack of the Clones, where I think she's wearing that same outfit. She was like, she got herself out of those, chains at one time when she was handcuffed. Did the same thing here. And so, she's obviously awesome. But the big thing for me that sold this episode was the music. That Prince of Egypt, Dune sounding type, music. It worked for the episode. I was a huge fan.
I'm glad you called that out too when you threw it on, because I had watched this episode earlier today and I didn't really pay attention to the music. That's definitely like one of the last things, especially when it comes to Clone Wars, that I start to think about. And you had commented on it and I was like, yeah, it actually does stand out, but then I feel like it doesn't carry over into the other episodes.
No, it doesn't.
I felt like it was very specific to this one.
That one singular episode.
I thought this episode also had a lot of good laughs. I love when...
Yeah.
I mean, of course, things are going to go awry when Jar Jar and C-3PO are behind the mission.
Yes.
And, of course, the ship gets destroyed by a pulled lever by Jar Jar, and the way that he like like pops his eyes out and like jaw drops is just really funny. And you get a lot of Roger Rogers. And I love that C-3PO is like, oh, Jar Jar's dead. He's
Yeah.
never coming back.
Yeah, yes, I actually did laugh out loud with everybody. And we were watching that. I'm just like, he's like, Jar Jar's been killed. Somehow I always knew this was going to
Yeah.
happen. Like, wait, someone or something was gonna kill him? Like, that's what
Well,
you knew.
you knew he was such like an idiot that he was eventually going to get himself killed. And then of course Jar Jar's like, "Oh, I'm okay."
Oh.
And then later on in the episode, it's like a repeated joke where C-3PO says, "Oh no, he died again." I thought that was good. I
Yeah.
loved it.
I'm telling you, I really, really enjoyed this episode. And yeah, it showcased like it kind of sucked that he turned his back on Padme, but like that showcases where the war is at that time. It's like, I don't think she's actually getting hurt. She's going to be a prisoner of war. My people are starving.
Mhm.
And so I'm willing to do some pretty nasty things to, save my people. And ultimately he turns his back on them and, goes back with the Republic, knowing that they may or may not get the food they need
Yeah.
because, it's been held up in Senate forever. So I don't know. Overall, I mean, looking at the rankings here for this episode.
Oh, what about the we also had like a cool monster like slug caterpillar type thing. I thought that was like a fun weird alien monster.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, like, it was cool to see, and I think there was kind of funny. They were like, the Jedi summoned it or whatever, and it's like, I don't know. I totally had Darth Jar Jar vibes when I saw him put on the hood with the whatever. But as much praise as we're giving this episode, it's only got a 63.4% from us, which is interesting because we're like praising it. So that showcases how
but
bad
we're hard on it, of course.
Yeah, from a critical lens, when you look at it from a story perspective, it didn't really advance the story very much. You look at its own siloed story and you're saying, okay, there's the Rhodians. Padme comes in. They're trying to decide if they already decided they're going to be part of the Separatists. They saw what they're all about. Ultimately, they decide to join the Republic. And then, Padme along the way becomes captured and then is freed. So there's not a lot there.
Right.
And same with the characters. There's not really a lot to chew on, but it's fun, easy watching. Not a lot to break down.
You also commented when we were watching it, like the animation of Padme running down. Like
rough.
the technical aspects continue to get low scores from us because I mean, they're just not there yet. And that's understandable. That's going to be something that we have to take into consideration. But I will admit that I didn't know exactly what these 3 episodes were going to be about at the start. Like I knew that we were going to be watching an arc, and I was very scared that all 3 episodes were going to be about C-3PO and Jar Jar saving Padme. So I'm really glad that it gets resolved at the end of this episode because that would have been that would have been rough.
I know. Yeah, I mean, overall, this episode, while it was a good amount of fun, looking at it, I mean, yeah, the music was great. That's the highest score for me, but it got a 63.4% from us overall. And we also need to shout out, first off, KG showed us some love in the comments here for our new studio setup that we're still working on it. We don't have a DeWalt screwdriver behind us anymore. We actually have a lights and, other decorations and things.
Yeah.
So if you're not watching the YouTube channel, you're missing out. So jump on the live sessions, but it's going to be a lot of fun. KG, we do need to ask though, have you done your homework? Did you watch the episodes? Are you caught up yet? Because now we're starting to enter the good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's go into the next episode. Amanda, what was it all about?
Okay, episode 9 is called Cloak of Darkness. Ahsoka and Jedi Master Luminara escort captured Viceroy Nute Gunray to Coruscant to face trial for war crimes, unaware that Count Dooku has dispatched his deadly apprentice assassin, Asajj Ventress, to free or silence Gunray and eliminate the Jedi.
Ooh, now we took a step up this episode. It got a little bit darker.
Yes, it did. And I love that we are now focusing on like kind of entirely new characters in this arc. Like Nute Gunray is a character and his he is sort of the through line for this plot, but to have Master Luminara and Ahsoka be teamed up, like that's such a fun opportunity. Like we can get Anakin and Ahsoka whenever, but I love that they paired those two girls up.
Now, I heard everything you just said there in the comments. Our most loyal listener, or most loyal live listener out there, KG, said she had a busy week. I'm telling you what, maybe we should offer something new for folks who want to do this with us. Should we do live watch parties of these things? I know other podcasts that do it. We're already watching it together. Should we start offering this so that way?
We did just watch it before this. So,
yeah.
Maybe
that's the only way KG will ever watch it, is if we're like, sit down with us before just watch the thing. Maybe we should do that.
We should figure that out. Yeah,
we know a few other podcasts that have done that. Maybe that's something that's on the Duel the Ranks horizon. And then you can hear our live reactions as we're saying stuff. We'll see. But otherwise, we're gonna be like season 7, and the only thing she's gonna know about the Clone Wars is what we've said about it in commentary to this point. It's not the way to get there. Not the way. Trust me, I've been there once. Been to the top of Everest. You gotta climb it. It's just it's so rewarding. And this episode is part of the reason why. Because yes, is it the greatest piece of Star Wars content ever? No. But they're getting more and more enjoyable. When I look at the numbers here for ourselves, the last episode was a 63.4%. This episode's a 63. It's still maintaining that, okay, obviously this isn't groundbreaking, but it's a lot better than what it used to be. There's a solid story behind it.
We started off the season in the 50s, so we are climbing.
Yeah, it's certainly enjoyable now. A D will get you a passing grade in some schools. So just take your D.
I don't know about that. Don't fact check that.
You can graduate with it. I don't know. Anyway. I'd do some teaching, and I'd give someone if you
would pass someone with an entire D.
Pass someone with a D.
Okay. You heard it from him. I would sign up for his class.
Yeah, look, you did the bare minimum, but at the same time, it was legible. I was able to read your paper. You did the work. Yeah, it's good enough.
Sure. I did really like the story and the characters in this episode. I like how we explored like Ahsoka being very different than Luminara, and like there's a point where Luminara and Ahsoka are like doing good cop, bad cop on Nute Gunray, and Ahsoka goes like Anakin on him, where she like holds up his lightsaber to his neck and is like, "You're gonna tell me what I need to know." And Master Luminara is like, girl, that is not the Jedi way. What are you doing? And then it actually ends up working. Gunray's like, "Okay, I'll talk to you." So it kind of further like reinforces that is a reliable way to get information out of someone. But I thought it was a great first look at how Ahsoka like controls herself without her master right by her side.
Yeah.
But along with that, I found it incredibly rude and disrespectful for Ahsoka to, at some point, she tries to stop Master Luminara from fighting Ventress on her own. And I think that's just like entirely out of line for a Padawan to try to tell a Master Jedi what to do.
Oh, yeah. She's got a lot of those Anakin tendencies. Mm-hmm. She's hot-headed. She's strong-willed.
She thinks she knows better, which is part of like the naivety of being young.
Yeah. And look, that's part of her thing right now. You just said it. There's so much learning she's got to do. And, she's going to do some of that this episode. And Luminara, was humble enough to say, yeah, you were right. Which I thought was pretty cool because, Jedi Master, we paint them as these arrogant figures, but humble enough to say, yeah, like, and what's also interesting too, is she kind of mocks Asajj Ventress's fighting style, saying it's unpolished, unrefined compared to, she's like, I could tell you learned from Dooku, but you're not Dooku.
Yeah.
But Asajj Ventress was giving her the work. So, you're like dogging her, but at the same time, you wouldn't have done well against Dooku. So that just goes to show you there's levels to this thing. But I did give the technical aspects a much higher score this episode because Asajj Ventress's movements, to me anyway, maybe it was just because the lightsabers were spinning so fast, but it seemed a lot more fluid.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, she is really fun to watch with the two sabers. I really like that.
Yeah.
I also love how... Okay, so we get this new character who is the Senate Guard Captain Argus. Argius.
Yep.
And he sort of has like a Roman Trojan style like armor to him, and he has very like stylized coiffed hair that kind of reminds me of like the Disney Hercules film.
Yes.
You picked up on that?
Yeah.
And he ends up being like bribed by Dooku to actually like take Gunray out and escape with him. But then Asajj like viciously ignites a lightsaber through
Ruined
his
a perfectly
back.
good chair.
I know. Now they're gonna have to replace that. Yeah, she stabs him in the back through the chair, and he's like, "Ah," like while he's dying, and I was like, this is cool. I love when there's actually like a death on screen, you know?
Yeah, I know. We were watching it, and I had like a 3-year-old nearby, and I'm like, oh.
I kept looking over at him. And I was like, is he traumatized? Is he traumatized?
Sorry, kiddo, I forgot. Yeah, he's only 3, and I've already traumatized him with Clone Wars. I'm like, all right, last X amount of episodes have been so safe, and this guy got wrecked. And if you like earlier that episode, there's a Clone Wars episode. No, yeah, this one actually, where there's a clone that was decapitated.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh gosh.
Or like in the arc beforehand when like that like giant worm comes out and like takes a clone and just like takes it away, and they're like, oh, okay.
Like, all right, that is what that is. We're here now.
Under the immersive universe, I took a couple notes. One, I wrote that the boarding ships were very cool. So they send these like kind of like barnacle style ships on like to attach themselves and like bust in and allow the battle droids to like infiltrate the ship. I thought that was like a pretty cool thing that I don't remember seeing recently in Star Wars. But one thing that I knocked points down for was Argus calls Ahsoka Master Jedi at one point when he's trying to be like, sometimes you have to like just follow your gut instead of following orders. And that is not her title, Master Jedi. So to me, that's kind of like a continuity error that kind of takes some points for not making sense.
Or maybe he's just like so ignorant to their whole thing, and just like maybe that's part of the point, is to showcase like his lack of care. Or
you would think the captain of the guard would be a bit more hierarchical.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't get over his notes, so I was thinking about him just like, this is this Greco-Roman type architecture like you see on the statues and stuff. I'm like, wow, like that's a very interesting design. Like you said, with the Trojan helmet and everything, I kind of was just like, all right, this is a very pretty man.
Yeah.
And
now he's dead.
And now he's dead. And that was his arc. Betrayed everybody. But no, overall, this episode, we gave it a 63%. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fine. There wasn't really, like, you look at it from A to Z. I think this is the first time we've seen Asajj Ventress with her lightsabers in action.
Yeah.
She is in that first episode with Yoda, but she's actually going out of her way to like fight now against 2 Jedi.
And she knocked out some clones.
Yeah, she knocked out some clones. And overall, too, I mean, I thought that was pretty sick how she used her 2 lightsabers, jumped into the elevator and fell down. A lot of her fighting movements, like, I'm sure that was a challenge to take that Samurai Jack fighting style and to translate that into 3D and something that feels more realistic. And I thought they did a really good job in the technical aspects this episode with, there's that factory type fighting scene with like the lava. I don't know.
Cool. There was one more thing I was gonna say, and it's gone.
All right. It might come back to you. So, all right, what's this last episode about?
All right, 10. This last episode, Lair of Grievous. Okay, I remember what I was gonna say.
All right.
Ventress is actually successful in her mission. From like Dooku asks her to either take Gunray out or like retrieve him so he doesn't give any secrets away to the Jedi. And Ventress actually does succeed in escaping with him. So he doesn't actually become much of a plot device in the next episode. So that's episode 10, Lair of Grievous. So General Grievous must prove himself worthy of the Separatists when Count Dooku leads Jedi Master Kit Fisto and his former Padawan, the Mon Calamari Jedi Nader Veb, to Grievous's villainous enclave. So basically,
loved this one too.
Really? Yeah. I mean, this is our debut Kit Fisto episode, so I'm excited to talk about it. But they tracked Gunray's ship to the planet Vasek, and Kit Fisto sort of meets up with his old Padawan. It sounds like that his Padawan had like finished up his training
Yep.
while Kit Fisto was away fighting in the Clone Wars. So they're sort of reconnecting for this first time, and fighting side by side after a while. And you're starting to see some differences in their personalities and their fighting style, where Kit Fisto is much more in line with the Force and not using rage or vengeance as a motive for fighting.
There's that aggression where he even told him, he's like, you show no restraint. And you could see the same thing with Ahsoka that last episode.
Yep.
Where there's these younger Jedi who are growing up in war.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, they're just so, by that reason, they're easily blinded by things.
Yeah, it's very different being trained before a war than like during one.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I thought was really interesting about like an Attack of the Clones. There's that dinosaur-looking Jedi, that Parasaurolophus-looking one, who like Jango Fett within like 3 blasts just easily takes him out, and he falls off the balcony or whatever. And you like look in, and he's just, you're like, well, he's a Jedi. Like I think like a Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, whatever. Like how on earth did he die so easily? And you like, if you do in any reading on him, it's like, well, he wasn't much of a fighter. And you're growing up, like, you're born in the 90s, whatever. You're like, well, they're all great fighters. They're Jedi. And you have to remember, like, oh, pre-war, like, no, not all of them are necessarily great fighters.
Yeah.
There's Jedi librarians, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, they're not meant to be an army.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the clone army is for. Exactly.
So it's interesting to see this next generation, and that's what they're leaning into.
And you know what? I also love this episode for, like I mentioned at the top of this episode, that we get even more new characters. Like, we're not bringing over Ahsoka from the last one. Like, Nute Gunray isn't really like a part of this part of the story, and I think that is just like really well thought out. I'm glad that they prioritized this storyline like that.
Yeah.
Made it more interesting, made it easier to pay attention instead of like get bored throughout and be like, I can't like focus on this anymore.
Agreed. I also liked in this episode, I loved how there's that hallway where that's how they chose how to tell Grievous's story, by looking in room by room, and you see this warrior, like this statue of him, and you're like, oh, what's that? And then the next room, you see all of this armor, and through that's the progression of his life, and how, he's, and then they say later, as he's getting repaired, the droid that was fixing him said something like, well, if you hadn't have been subjected to all these modifications, and he's like, I am subject to no one. He's like, these are modifications, these are whatever modifications, they're enhancements. And so like showing he chose to make himself a cyborg over time to become a better and better fighter, that where his body was limited, he decided to enhance himself through the parts of droids so he didn't face those same limitations.
Yeah, that's a great call out, because I'm not super familiar with the Grievous like extended universe lore, but on Wikipedia, on the page for this episode, Dave Filoni talks about, I'm going to read just a quote here from Dave Filoni. If you don't believe in the EU version of the story or didn't like it, then perhaps this new revelation that Grievous was a warrior whose lust for power made him choose to be altered suits you better. Again, a great many of the truths we cling to largely depend on our own point of view. Grievous was a great warrior in both stories. He was a Kaleesh in both stories. The major differences depend on whether you believe about his past. In the end, I have to say this. Many diehard EU fans pick and choose the stories that they think are canon based on what they like and what they don't like. So at least he said much effort goes into trying to word things or shoot things so that the existing EU can remain, if only at times from a certain point of view. So Dave Filoni talks about specifically writing this episode so that it's kind of ambiguous and can float along with whatever backstory you tend to hang on to more, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, just like look at the X-Men series.
Yeah.
Timelines are everywhere. Yeah. No, look, that was really cool to see. Grievous's fighting style. Like, I love seeing him fight against other not only like non-Jedi Masters, non-Obi-Wan Kenobis, because you're just like, oh, this guy like sucks. But you see him against clones, and you're just like, oh, this guy's like an animal, like can like crawl like a spider and grab, and he's like so much more like ominous, and he stands so much larger against these types of people. And even Kit Fisto, you're like, oh man, this guy is not as good of a fighter as I would have thought, because I mean, he got away with his life.
But he was, he had to escape. He didn't defeat him. He did cut off both of his legs, though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but you think about like Anakin in that situation. Anakin's like, I'm not leaving until I find you. I don't know where you are.
Yeah.
But I'm coming for you. Like, that's more Anakin's vibe. Whereas Kit Fisto's like, I could kind of like, do a good job at like ending the war here, but I'm a bounce.
He always has like the cocky little side smile, and he's like, yeah, I'm too cool for this. And I'm like, yeah, you are, Kit Fisto.
I'm gonna be gone by the time you find me.
Yeah. Yes, he did have a Caribbean accent.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like kind of funny. Kind of sounded like Sebastian from The Little Mermaid.
I loved it. He lives under the sea and everything else.
Yeah, and he has like, his hair is kind of like dreadlocks in some ways.
I loved it. I was like, this is the Kit Fisto I didn't know I needed.
Yeah, he has so much charisma. Yes, I love Kit Fisto. He was great introduction.
He might be my favorite Jedi. I don't know.
Wow.
I think he was when I was a kid. He might still be.
He's so cool.
They added so much charm to him.
Yeah, and I do like the way that the voice actor brings him to life. And I also ended up looking into like who the voice actor is. That same voice actor actually voices Jar Jar Binks in the Clone Wars episodes, and
Really?
Bail Organa.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. So overall, this episode, we ranked the episode 10 at a 66.3%. So we're moving on up.
We're creeping up a little bit by little bit.
Slowly.
Also that last episode won a Golden Reel Award for Best Sound Editing in Television Animation.
Really?
Yeah, I found that out after the fact, and I can't say that it stood out to me, but I thought it was worth noting for the audience.
Wow. Okay. Well, looking at this here, this episode 8, 9, and 10, this is absolutely the best arc we've had to this point.
Out of the two?
Yeah, the two. All right, let's see. So 63.5, 63.4, and 66.3%. So overall, hold on. Drum roll, please.
Drum
Average
roll.
for these three is, well, something in between 63 and 66, 64.4. And you compare that to the Malevolence arc, that was a 53.6.
Oof.
Episode 6 and 7, which was the R3S6 arc, was 49.65. Oof. And now Nute Gunray, we're sitting at 64.4%.
That's pretty good.
So it's drastically better than the other two arcs.
So yeah, we talked about last week kind of giving our reviews when we review these like chunks of Clone Wars episodes as is it worth watching or is it worth a pass? How do you feel about it?
Oh, it's so worth watching. If you are a Star Wars fan, you've got to watch these episodes.
I think this is one of the arcs that is worth watching, especially in this first season.
It's not like it's necessary to like Star Wars lore, but it's so interesting and it's so rich of some really fun stuff that I think you're just missing out if you haven't seen these.
Shout out KG. You're missing out.
Which is so funny, that perspective, because like we gave Bad Batch a 63 back in the day, and we were just like, when we first started this show, and we're like, this is so bad. And now a 63 after these last few arcs, and I'm like, oh sweet.
Yeah.
We've arrived.
Yeah, we're climbing.
We're here. We're here. It is kind of funny though to look at these like spreadsheets, and I'm like, we have so much data from all Star Wars that's ever been made. It's crazy. Like,
it's pretty cool.
That's what we set out to do in this show. Just put together data over time with a bunch of rankings. And yeah, now there's just like this ginormous spreadsheet, and we haven't even tackled Clone Wars
What do we do with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can go to the duelranks.com to see all our rankings in real time.
You sure can.
Yeah. Well, besides that, do we have anything else to say about the Nute Gunray arc?
No, I don't think so.
Then I think it's hot takes time. Darth Vader, let's get into the next segment of the show. Bring us in.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
All right. Tonight, it was my turn to come up with a Star Wars hot take or find something. So I decided to do something very, very easy because, it's been a busier week, and just go to Reddit.
Yeah.
And so, let's just read some of these and see what we think.
Yeah.
All right. First and foremost, first hot take I see. Captain Phasma should have never been promoted beyond lieutenant. I'm going to upvote that.
I haven't read Phasma, and I feel like I don't want to deny a woman's promotion without knowing her full resume, so I refuse to comment on that.
And I personally just, if she was given the Boba Fett treatment, and if I were like a kid and I really liked her character like I liked Boba Fett, I would never have agreed with that person online. But you know what? I'm older now, and I got to hold Boba Fett accountable too. Shouldn't have been drunk on that day on the sail barge. Captain Phasma, got punked twice by the same guy. Now
I think Captain Phasma is better utilized and more interesting than Boba Fett, though.
Not now. Not with Book of Boba Fett out. Maybe you can say that compared to the original trilogy. But compared to what we have now with all of his story with Attack of the Clones, all the way to the originals.
Yeah, I think exclusively in film is what I'm...
Yeah.
Because we don't have the same... If we had the Phasma story, the Disney Plus series, then we would be able to have a different conversation. But
I mean, there's no doubt she had the bones of an interesting character. But she got punked and she was sober. Boba at least was, I'm going to firmly believe he was just drunk off his mind on that sail barge, but I don't know. I mean, personally,
so the hot take was what again?
She should have never been promoted past lieutenant.
And for me, I don't know. I can't say that's a hot take.
Milk toast.
I'm gonna say milk toast.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's the first one. Let's.
I have one too that I also grabbed from Reddit.
Also, yeah, in the comments here, some folks think it's kind of hot, so we'll see. Also, KG said, are y'all over inflating that 63% just to get me to watch this series? Absolutely. Come on, just watch it. Catch up with us. You're missing out on the fun. All right. What's your hot take?
Okay, so this one also comes from Reddit. It says, Kylo Ren's redemption and him being redeemed in general is more believable than Vader being redeemed, even more so retroactively after the prequels. Within the context of Star Wars, Kylo Ren's arc is believable from start to finish.
I love Kylo Ren's arc. I'm not complaining about his arc. I'm not even complaining about the kiss. The amount of crap.
That gets a lot.
Didn't we have someone on the show too recently?
No, we were guests on a show that we were talking about that.
Oh, yeah, and they hated the kiss. And I'm like, here's my thing. You're about to die. You're human. You're both you find each other attractive. I don't find that hard to believe.
Yeah, no. And the whole time I was like, there's obviously chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah.
But we're kind of talking about more so his redemption.
Yeah, just his redemption as a whole, as especially being compared to Vader's. Obviously Vader's meant more. Mm-hmm. From just everything for Star Wars up to that point. So, and it didn't feel anywhere near as forced as you had with Kylo Ren's. But I would understand Kylo's done significantly less damage to this point.
And he was totally manipulated the entire time. Anakin did make his own choices.
He was manipulated too pretty hard. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, look, Anakin was bad to the core bad. There was not much coming back from that. You should go ahead and watch Obi-Wan and watch that scene where they acted their asses off, and Ewan's just looks like he's just gonna break down, seeing Anakin's helmet all, Darth Vader's helmet all messed up, and you just see this look on Anakin's face, I killed him, and it's just pure hate, and I never ever got that. vibe from Kylo Ren. No, I got
He tried really hard.
I got unadulterated rage,
Yeah.
but not like, oh, I'm
Evil.
this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is a really important distinction between the characters, because like Kylo Ren had so much pressure on him to live up to this standard that he was always like kind of beating himself up over it
Yeah.
for not being good enough. And for some reason, like, I don't know, that doesn't feel as like heinous than like choosing to kill children.
No. I mean, the craziest thing that Kylo did was kill his dad. But you could also argue, like, how close was he even to his dad? Was he around very much? And was, like, he went off to live with Luke. How young was he? So, like, how much did he even know his dad? And, like, was murdering him?
And also,
even
like,
that
his parents
hard?
just kind of like sent him away.
Exactly.
So of course there's reason to resent. Not saying that like you should kill your parents if you're
So of course this was the logical thing to do. Murder.
So what do you think of the take? Is it a hot take?
No.
Really?
No.
You don't think that it's a hot take at all?
No,
I think there's a lot of diehard like Star Wars fans that are gonna be like, how dare you even pretend to think that
It's more
Kylo Ren
believable?
is
I don't understand that. Like it's a more believable, like, it both make sense in their respective like stories. Yes, it took literally Padme or whatever was left of Padme for Anakin to turn. So that absolutely makes sense. But I'm just saying there's a lot of crazy parents out there that are not as evil as Darth Vader who I don't know if they'd save their kids in that moment. Whereas Kylo never even fully committed to the dark side. So him, like, his arc, it was messier than Vader's, but at the same time,
which made it better.
Yeah, I am not gonna say it was better than Darth Vader, but like, look, I believe him turning around like that is absolutely believable. So I'm not gonna give that one a hot take.
So it's also milquetoast.
Yeah, it's also milk
Okay.
toast. All right, let's play a milk toast soundbite. It's
Both
about
of them
time.
are milquetoast.
It's about time. All this Grievous talk tonight. Let's hear it.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
All right, next hot take. It comes in from Tyrone Shoelaces 69 that says, I want a Solo sequel and more Kira. I have no interest in the High Republic.
Wow. I'm going to say that's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
I'd say the second part is more of a hot take than the first part. I do, Christian, I hope that he's still listening wherever he is in the Force.
He is, yeah, he's dead to us.
He's in the Force.
Yeah, he left the show.
I've come around a little bit more on Solo, and I know that initially Solo was supposed to be a 3-film series, and I really wish we would have gotten the full story that they could tell there. And I agree, like, I want to see Kira. I think it is a hot take that to want a Solo too.
Over High Republic.
Yes, especially over High Republic.
Ooh.
Because High Republic is having its moment. So I think this person, I see that was from 2 years ago. I think this person, I would like to believe that they've changed their mind since then because there's so much High Republic content. And I personally am ready to sunset all of the legacy characters and move on to the High Republic or like post Skywalker.
Yeah, totally. I do not want a sequel to Solo whatsoever.
Like, if it would have happened when it was happening, fine. But we don't need to come and dig it back up from the grave.
Perfect movie to just be its own standalone film, just by the title alone.
I do want Kira to come back in some capacity, though.
I couldn't care less.
Okay.
I mean, I think she's a fine actress. I can't remember her name, but she's good.
Emily Clark.
There you go. She's in like other things.
Game of Thrones.
Yep. So she's good.
Yeah.
But I'm just not personally I don't care. Like you said, I want more High Republic stuff.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what happens with Ahsoka. I care a lot about other characters in Star Wars right now over her, because I just don't think it's that interesting. Like anything that happens with Andor, I'm on the edge of my seat for over this. So
that one gets a hot take from both of us.
yeah, but a downvoted hot take.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my friend Tyrone Shoelaces 69, here you go.
I got a bad feeling about this hot take.
Does that about wrap us up for?
I think that wraps us up. I mean, just going down this rabbit hole of Reddit.
We can uncover them
Oh
for
my
miles.
gosh.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Now, I don't know. For me, I'm just so excited with where Star Wars is going right now. I mean, I know there's a lot of folks who are, not going to be talking about Ahsoka with the writer's strike and everything going on, which we totally respect. I know that folks didn't listen in last week. We are still going to be talking about Ahsoka with all that going on, which if you want to provide your reasons why.
Yeah, I am very pro-union and have been keeping tabs on the SAG-AFTRA strike and the writer's strike, and of what I've read as of now, there is not a boycott for us podcasters who do not make any money, who do not have the actors guest starring or talking about or promoting their projects. We're still allowed to watch and talk about it without being scabs. And if that changes and they want us to boycott watching and talking about it, period, then we'll have to adjust. But as of now, we encourage people to watch the shows because that will at least show the numbers that people want this content. This is good stuff. Pay them for what they are worth. We advocate for all of those reasons. So
yeah,
we'll still keep covering it, and we would love to have some guests on while we cover Ahsoka if you're comfortable joining. So we have a couple people on the dockets that will.
I know. Look at us rebels. Never thought I'd see the day be rebel talking about Star Wars content.
Oh, Diet and the Force is in the chat. They said High Republic is that new. Survivor and now Acolyte will bring all the fans to the yard. I am very excited about Acolyte and how that will crack open an entire new generation of Star Wars fans.
I know. And when along the Survivor point, it's just that's the sole reason I want to buy a PS5. It's because of that game.
Jake just I was gone last week, as we know. He bought Survivor while I was gone and started playing it. So now I am officially not watching his gameplay because I don't want it to be spoiled. I still have not had any spoilers, so we'll see how long that lasts.
We'll have to do a short playthrough and just actually get that going so listeners can see us just continually try to run on walls and fall or something over and over again.
I put mine on easy mode, so
really?
We can just have a fun, silly time.
I put mine.
It's still hard.
I don't put it on Jedi Master. Maybe it's right below. I think I play normal, middle of the road.
Nice.
Which is at times it can be a little easy, and then you face that one boss,
and you're like, "Whoa, I need to switch it down." Almost, you're I keep
dying.
Yeah.
What have I done? Did the last? What was it called? Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? The lady you fight at the end, the Night Sister you fight.
Mm-hmm.
The Night Sister. What am I talking about?
The guy?
No, the lady who was the. No, what's her name? Not the Ninth Sister. She was the one in the Kashyyyk jungle. I'm the Sixth Sister or something like that. You fight her before Vader comes out. There's no winning.
Right.
So anyway, I had to end up looking how to beat her easily. And so it's that stupid way of beating a game where you have to kind of jerry-rig it. So you run on one side of the map and it kind of spams she's going to throw one thing and you kind of predict the movements and you can piece away at her over an hour of throwing your lightsaber or something like that. So that's how I won the game and I have no shame.
See, I've still been playing Tears of the Kingdom. That's my focus. And eventually I'll have the guts to sit down and play a hard game. I mean, not to say that Tears of the Kingdom's easy.
Dyad said they played on Grandmaster, so that's I'm not surprised. They're just
that's impressive.
Yeah, I'm surprised Dyad can't physically use the Force.
Yeah,
if they're
that's where I'm putting my money. If anyone becomes a Force user, it's gonna be Dyad.
That's the thing. It's we, our background and, literature and some other things we've done, we understand how to critique some stuff from time to time, depending on the type of media it is. That's all we'll say about what we do with our living. But I don't even want to say like we love Star Wars, but we're not like
We're not
we don't-
lore masters.
No, we're not lore masters. That's where you got to go check out things like that because they know just about everything there is to know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that language is called.
Arborish?
Arborish. I was about to say it's not Arabic. Something.
It's not Arabic.
Yeah, it's
Maybe they know Arabic.
Yeah, it's paintbrush. I don't know. Anyway, well, that's this week's episode. Of
Wait.
Duel of the Ring. Oh no.
Before we go out,
there's
I
more.
planned for us to have like one more tiny segment.
Oh, you
just
did.
Just
she did. I forgot all about
just
this one.
on the current topic of Barbenheimer, as it pertained to last week. Oppenheimer and Barbie both came out. If you're living under a rock,
You've still heard.
You probably have heard of it. So I thought we could do just end of the episode with some fun, like quick response. Which characters do you think would be going to Barbie or Oppenheimer or doing both? So I'm just gonna like rattle off some names and you tell me if you think they're gonna see Barbie or Oppenheimer or both.
All right.
Ahsoka.
Oh, I mean that's. I think she's gonna see Oppenheimer.
Really? I wrote Barbie.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I mean, well, what age of Ahsoka are we talking? That's the thing.
That's the thing. Barbie's for all ages.
It's true. I just to see Ahsoka like more than these days. It's just sad. The world sucks.
But that theme is in Barbie too.
All right.
I think Ahsoka will relate to the girlhood story of Barbie.
I think she goes to Barbie if like Sabine is like, I'm going to Barbie. Which Sabine's totally going to Barbie. And she's like, all right, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
That's how
Anakin.
I'm going to put him as Oppenheimer too.
Yeah, I'm also going to. He's, destruction, power.
Yeah.
Destroyer of worlds. Obi-Wan.
I put him in that Oppenheimer camp too.
I put Obi-Wan in Barbie camp. I
Really?
see Obi-Wan having big Kenergy. I think he would just want to go with the girlies and have a fun time watching Barbie.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't see him like getting hyper into either. So
Rex.
Oh, Barbie.
I put Barbie too.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
We're on the same page with that one.
Yeah.
Palpatine.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah. Padme.
I'm gonna say Barbie.
Barbie. The girls are going Barbie. Ventress.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna say Oppenheimer.
I wrote down that I think Ventress would do the double feature. I think she would start with Oppenheimer and then she would go see Barbie afterwards and then probably hang up the lightsabers and just like quit.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Dooku.
You know what? Dooku is totally a both in my mind, but he's gonna see Oppenheimer, but he won't tell anyone he saw Barbie, but he wants to see it.
I love that.
But
Yeah.
he's gonna wait till it's like available for streaming.
I feel like Dooku has this like unknown like daughter that I feel like he or like a niece or something that he would like want to treat to like go to see Barbie with.
Yeah, no one knows about it. That would totally be Dooku.
Okay, and last one, Grievous.
I'm gonna put him in Barbie. He's obsessed with accessories. And...
that is a good point. I wrote Oppenheimer, but he would leave halfway through because he doesn't have the attention span for a 3-hour movie. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, this will be cool," and then he'd be like, "Oh, it's actually more of a drama. I have no time frame." Yeah. But yeah, I definitely see the Barbie appeal to it too.
He's like looking. He's only going for inspo. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
Yeah.
only reason he's at Barbie. So that's where we should end this.
Yeah.
Well, that was an amazing segment. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you want more Duel of the Ranks content, Google us. Amanda, where all do we exist with stuff?
You can check us out at dueloftheranks.com, which has all of our episodes, where everything that we've ranked falls on our list. So you can go through and comb through and see where every episode falls. And we're also on X, formerly Twitter.
Oh, is that happening now? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Even though Meta like trademarked X.
Yeah.
So like Twitter can't do it.
Yeah, I kind of wish we could like bleep it out, but yeah, we are on there, and we're kind of dormant on another like social media, like TikTok and stuff like that. But
We have pages, so go find
they're
it.
there. But you can always catch up on our most current episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, and also on the live page on our YouTube channel. You can check out past episodes. So
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them. We're coming up on 100 episodes, y'all.
100.
69% of podcasters don't make it outside of 10 episodes. So we're sitting here at whatever it is, like 95. So we're not stopping anytime soon.
No.
There's a whole lot more Star Wars content to do. So we're going to keep doing it. If you like our show, leave us comments, join our stuff. We love having you. Be here every single Thursday, 8 o'clock Central Time.
Bring 5 of your friends. We're going to turn it into a multi-level marketing scheme. You just tell 5 of your friends and they bring 5 of their friends. And
we got to offer to sell something. I don't know what we're selling yet.
Selling enlightenment.
Oh, now we're a cult. That's cool. I love that for us.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's Duel of the Ranks this week. Join us next week as we continue to break down the Clone Wars. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We are going to let you folks know. We are going to be doing an Ahsoka bingo. So if you're interested in that, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for more Duel of the Ranks. Have fun. Have a blessed week. May the Force be with y'all. See you next week.